Nothing about an expedited hearing. Are you concerned that if once the first money is received, if that's going to close the deal?
Well, let me answer the last part of your question, then Carrie or David, I'd like you to go to the first part of the question. As far as the timing, the sense of that there's somehow a ticking clock or a time bomb involved in this once the money starts coming in. I think we all agree that if we were to let this go 2, 3, 4 years, it would get more difficult because, as you all know, the way this town works, when the money starts rolling in, it gets difficult to make changes. So certainly sooner rather than later would be a desire. All right, in that regard, as far as timing, sooner rather than later. But let me let you all answer the question, if you would, from the microphone. If you could restate your first question. David, answer.
Motion for expedited hearing of this.
Well, first, right now, we don't think that we need it. We think that it's prudent to wait until after the election. We'll see what happens with the election. We certainly can invoke various processes to speed it up if we think that has to happen. With respect to the second part of your question, the law permits us to do this in a two-step process. We've asked for what's called a declaratory judgment, which is a declaration by the court that the proposed course of conduct is unconstitutional. We presume that if the court declares it unconstitutional, Governor Strickland will do the right thing and he'll follow the direction of the court. If he does not, there are other procedures that we can invoke called a writ of mandamus or a writ of prohibition. So we don't think it would be necessary to have the court order anything other than the declaration of unconstitutionality.
Did I hear you say you might wait until after the November 3rd election?
Well, wait for what? I mean, the case is filed.
Okay.
I mean, right now it goes onto the court's calendar. The court will issue a briefing schedule, and right now we are not at the court's mercy, but the court will set the timing. If we think the timing is not to our advantage, we can seek to speed it up. You know, and if I may, one further comment in response to your question about whether the legislature could do this already. Justice Piper was talking about something entirely different. He was talking about whether this is subject to referendum. He wasn't talking about whether the legislation itself was constitutional, and he wasn't talking about the procedures that have in fact been adopted. In fact, even if the legislature can do this, the legislature has to abide by the constitutional requirements that the funds be devoted to education in the way in which the Constitution requires it. That was not at issue yesterday. It was not discussed. So it's far from a foregone conclusion that we've lost that vote.
And as you can see, we're very excited about our legal counsels. And I think that after this initial launch, which is sort of a coming out party to introduce them to you as well, most of your questions over the next few weeks will be directed toward them, which I think they're very prepared and willing to answer. Julie,